on the subject named System Analysis and Design. Now, today's session is Software Design Part 1. In this session, I have covered these heads like software design definition, software design levels, modularization, concurrency, coupling, and cohesion. And last is design verification. Now come to the definition of software design. Software design is a process to transform user requirements into some suitable form which helps the programmer in software coding and implementation. Okay, so for accessing user requirements in SRS, that is software requirement specification, a document is created where all where for coding and implementation, and there is a need of more specific and detailed requirements in software terms. So the output of this process can directly be used into implementation in programming languages. Software design is you can say the first step in SDLC, that is software development life cycle, which moves the concentration from problem domain to solution domain. So it tries to specify how to fulfill the requirements mentioned in software requirement specification. Now come to the software design levels. Software design yields three levels of results. First is architectural design. In this, the architectural design, it is the highest abstract version of the system. It identifies the software as a system with many components interacting with each other. At this level, the designers get the idea of proposed solution domain. Now, the second one is the high level design. The high level design breaks the single entity, multiple component concept of architectural design into less abstracted view of subsystems and the modules that depicts their interaction with each other. So the high level design basically focus on how the system along with all of its components can be implemented in forms of modules, and it recognizes modular structure of each subsystems and their relation and interaction among each other. Okay, so the third one is the detailed design. Detailed design deals with the implementation part of what is seen as a system and its subsystems in the previous two designs, and it is more detailed towards modules and their implementations. It defines logical structure of each module and their interfaces to communicate with each other. Now come to the modularization. In modularization, it is basically a technique which is divided a software system into multiple discrete and independent modules. Here we are focusing multiple discrete and independent. Okay, so these are expected to be capable of carrying out tasks independently, because modular is what, like if I am giving an example of modular kitchen. Modular kitchen is what mean there are multiple discrete or you can say independent modules which you can use. Some use for utensils, capped utensils, some use for the cabinets for your containers, and some are for some like your microwave and like mixer, grinder, juicer, etc. So these all combine together and form a combination of a modular kitchen. Okay, so that is called is multiple. Okay, or independent itself, every module is independent. Okay, so that works independently. So these modules may work a basic constructs for the entire software. So the designers tend to design modules such that they can be executed and or compiled separately and independently. Like you cannot store your utensils or in the area of your microwave, where your microwave is placed, and of course there is a separate portion for storage of every individual things. So all these individual things you can store it accordingly as per your requirements. Okay, so like you keep your vegetables, like keep your dry fruits and like fruits, etc. So modular design unintentionally follows the rules of divide and conquer problem solving strategy. This is because there are many other benefits attached with the modular design for a software. Now come to the advantages of modularization. Small components are easier to maintain. Programs can be divided, which is based on functional aspects. Desired level of abstraction can be brought in the program. Components with high cohesion can be reused again. Concurrent execution can be made possible. Desired from security aspect. Now the next is the concurrency. In software design, concurrency is implemented by splitting the software into multiple independent units of execution, like modules, and executing them in parallel. In other words, concurrency provides capability to the software to execute more than one part of code in parallel to each other. Now come to the cohesion and coupling. When a software program is modularized, its tasks are divided into several modules based on some characteristics. As I told you in the examples, vegetable have different characteristics like utensils, like microwave storage items. Okay, so as per the characteristics you have to divide that module. Okay, so as we know, modules are set of instructions put together in order to achieve some task. So they are they are though considered as single entity but may refer to each other to work together. There are measures by which the quality of a design of modules and their interaction among them can be measured, and these measures are called coupling and cohesion. What is cohesion? Cohesion is a measure that defines the degree of interdependability within elements of the module. The greater the cohesion, the better is the program design. Because I am focusing here is the interdependability, okay, within the elements. Now types of cohesion. First is the coincidental cohesion, logical cohesion, temporal cohesion, procedural cohesion, communicational cohesion, sequential cohesion, and the functional cohesion. Coupling. Coupling is a measure that defines the level of interdependability among modules of a program. It tells at what level of modules interfere and interact with each other. So the lower the coupling, the better the program. The levels of coupling are the content coupling, common coupling, control coupling, stamp coupling, data coupling. Now come to the data verification. The output of software design process is design, documentation, pseudocodes, detailed logic, diagrams, process diagrams, and detailed descriptions of all functional or non-functional requirements. The next phase, which is the implementation of software, which depends on all outputs mentioned above. like detail, logic, pseudocodes. Okay, these are the outputs. Okay. Now it is then becomes necessary to verify the output before proceeding to the next phase. The early any mistake is detected, the better it is, or it might not be detected until the testing of the product. So if the output of the design phase are in formal notation form, then their associated tools for verification should be used. Otherwise, a thorough design review can be used for verification and validation. So by structured verification approach, reviewers can detect the defects that might be caused by overlooking some conditions. A good design review is important for good software design, the accuracy and quality. Now this is all about software design, and this is the question for practice. What are the types of software design? Thank you. This session powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jayoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University Jaipur. Hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.